there's at least one person who you met in the past that embodies characteristics similar to a cartoon character. Were they perhaps the type of person to input their unwanted input into a conversation when nobody asked? Maybe even contemplate saying the corniest phrases like, "Okay, no more Mr. Nice Guy." In an argument? Well, according to the internet, worldwide known rapper Drake embodies all of these traits. One of my favorite meme archetypes in the last decade has been centered around the former Canadian actor, whether it's fair to him or not. And let's be honest, it's not too far to left field to imagine Drake cartoonishly floating towards a delicious pie. Drake has always been deemed a softie for the entirety of his career. Plenty of hip-hop fans and rappers alike have poked fun at him because he lacked that hard edge that was normalized in the genre. But let's point out the obvious. Drake's biracialness is part of the reason why he's ostracized so much, because he was perceived as the opposite of intimidating, especially after portraying his role of Jimmy Brooks in Degrassi.
A homie is a player, and that is all. So why'd you have to go and kick his ball and chain? Ain't that your name? Cause you a player hater, and that's a shame. And chicks like you ain't worth too much, so shut up, girl, and make my lunch. Yeah!
The meme started and never stopped. The specific trend of making fun of Drake has been recycled for over a decade now. And admittedly, it never gets old. But I would say that its peak was truly in the 2010s. Drake was erupted into the limelight, and now it's impossible to escape him. It's kind of obvious that those critiques have gotten under his skin a bit.
It's really just a natural thing that I was born with. I'm not really sure what people are referring to when they say, like, I do a thing, like, with my lips.
But it's up for debate whether that benefited him or not. He went hard on the lyrics, attempted to change up his image, but we all know the real Drake is the embodiment of dorkiness, or corniness, maybe even both. Oddly enough, this soft guy aspect is a crucial part of his success. He admittedly was a breath of fresh air when it came to music. It was kind of rare to hear R&B hymns and rapping praising the ladies, as opposed to the long-term gangsta era where they were widely misogynistic. Drake has successfully integrated pop culture into rap music. Hip-hop has reached its peak of commodification and accessibility. He's probably the first person you think of when you hear hip-hop. But sometime during the storm, Drake only became more bitter. He gained a huge ego from being number one for so long. So much so, in fact, that he is now complacent, lazy, and uninspired. How would you start off with So Far Gone, then jumble up the mess of Certified Lover Boy, Honestly Nevermind, and For All the Dogs? Drake's been on a losing streak for years now. And also, he has shot not-so-subtle disses at the rapper Megan Thee Stallion and jazz musician Esperanza Spalding. It's not a coincidence that they're both Grammy-winning artists.
4 Grammys to my name, 100 nominations. Esperanza Spalding was getting all the praises. I'm trying to keep it humble, I'm trying to keep it gracious.
Upon listening to them for the first time, Drake has barely added anything exciting or innovative to call it his own. As a matter of fact, he stuck with the same cadence listeners are getting tired of. And it's so disappointing to witness because the production almost never disappoints on those albums. But then you suddenly hear him serenading our ears lazily with a semi-decent singing voice. Bloated albums, sleepy line delivery about girls who don't emotionally invest in him, and less than stellar execution on the music he supposedly cares about only leaves Drake as a shell of his former self. Going back to his earlier work leaves me wondering, where did he go wrong? Drake's ego bleeds into his craft and is responsible for that tiring feeling of listening to his music these days, which is basically the equivalent of doing chores. I started off so strong with his fresh and exciting mixtapes, but now all we're getting is bits and pieces of Drake's former glory. Dude is pushing 40 years old, and that midlife crisis he's dealing with was going to happen sooner or later. Most people know that Drake is not stopping his redundant ways of making music because it wouldn't be a smart business move. But that's only having audiences perceive him as ingenuine and unbearable. Or in better terms, just plain corniness.
To be young, it's not that sick. Because I'm here now, like I just left 35, right? And it's like,
yeah, you're getting up there.
Well, all right.
But